Jula Design Studio, and today we're going to make a printable Santa's driver's license that you can leave under your Christmas tree on Christmas morning. We need to upload the designs that you purchased from my shop. We'll start with the front of the driver's license. We're going to choose complex. I'm going to not change anything here and then choose print and cut. No. Now we're going to repeat for the back of the license. I'm going to pick complex, leave it alone, print and cut. Next we need to choose our Santa photo. So you can choose your photo that you got with when your kids went and sat on Santa's lap, which is what this one is of mine, or I'll use a generic one that you guys can all use from Unsplash. So on Unsplash, I'll set this link in the video. We can download this image for free. I just can't include it in your purchase. So I'm going to choose a small download. I'm going back into my downloads now, and I'm going to upload this image the same way I did the other images, except for now I'm going to crop this face. So I'm going to crop this image. I'm going to make it a portrait shaped image instead of a landscape. My computer does not want to go further down than that. There we go. So I don't want it to be too wide. I definitely want it to be long. There we go. So I have cropped Santa image. I'm happy with that. I'm going to continue. I'm going to do a Santa as a print and cut. And now I'm going to select all three of these uploads and insert them into my canvas. I'm going to move my back away. And I'm going to select on my Santa first. So I need two Santas. So I need to go over to the Santa layer, right click, copy, right click, paste. Okay. I'm going to have two Santas because one is going to go in this little spot down here and one is going to go in this spot here. This one's already behind it, but usually it's not. I'm quite happy with it behind it. Oh, of course, my dog is going to play with his toy now. I kind of like it like that, so I'm going to leave it there. My next image, I'm going to shrink it up a bit because it's going to fit in this really small little spot here. And I'm going to move it. My computer's really lagging right now for some reason. I'll move it close to there. Now I'm going to show you what you do if it's in the front. You right click and you say send to back. So now if I zoom in on this image, you can see Santa is there. Oops. Santa is there and it's watermarked with the nice little snowflake on top, which is perfect. So I think this is pretty cute. So what we need to do now is select all three of these items, the two Santa pictures and the front of the license. You'll see all three layers are gray on the side, and I'm going to hit attach. We need to size our license now. I want mine to be 3 inches wide, and I'm just going to let the height default. You can measure your driver's license to do whichever size you are comfortable with. I want 3 inches. So we're only going to use this to print. We're going to cut everything manually because Cricut will actually cut out each individual square around the driver's license because this is not an SVG file. It is a PNG, and there are still cut lines here because we had that opening for the Santa picture. So we're just going to cut it by hand, but it's okay because it's really simple to do. So we're going to make this. I am going to hit continue, and I've run out of cardstock. I would normally choose cardstock, but I'm going to show you with just plain paper. I'm going to send it to my printer. I'm going to turn on the use system dialog because I want a good quality print. And I'm going to change my preferences, my paper quality to glossy paper, even though I'm still working on plain paper. I'm going to print this and then I will come back and we'll finish making. Okay, I'm going to cut out my design. We just used Cricut to print it. Ideally this would be cardstock or something a little less flimsy than just plain paper, but I've used all mine up, so I'm using plain paper. It is very light around the edges, so you're gonna have to be a bit careful. The background is basically just a little watermark. If you look at our licenses here in Alberta, we're very light watermark at the back, so I tried to kind of use it as inspiration for what Santa's license might look like. So I have it cut out. I'm not gonna cut that center part. All I'm gonna do is fold it in half now. And you'll see my cutting wasn't perfect. It's not gonna matter because I'm gonna trim it up. So my cutting was not perfect, so I'm gonna just give it a trim on the edges where I can see I don't line up. Not too bad. A little bit offset here. So you can take your scissors and really give it a good rub here to get a nice firm fold so you can see where you want to trim. And now I'm pretty happy with this. My laminating machine is almost warmed up. All right, we're gonna put it into the lamination machine now. If I was selling these, I would be putting in an entire sheet full of these, separating them out by a bit of a space so that I wouldn't waste my lamination paper. But I'm just doing this to show you how it's done. So you just put it in your lamination sheet and feed it through. If you don't have a laminator, you could just glue the front and back together in that previous step. That would be perfect. You would have a card that would work. It won't be quite as fancy as the lamination machine. As you see, when it comes out, it makes it a little bit harder, even though I use plain paper and it's also super shiny and fancy looking. I'm just gonna clip it off here to speed it up. You wouldn't do that if you had lots. So you want to trim it, but don't get too close to the actual paper or it will peel. It'll come apart. You want it to be close, but not too close. And how cute is that? Adorable. And even with plain paper, it's fairly substantial. It is better with cardstock. But I'm telling you, that's really cute. Your kids are going to be so excited to see that on Christmas morning.